What's up, guys? Rick from DFS On Demand here with a preview for the WGC match play. This preview is going to be completely different than any other preview you have ever seen on this show. With it being the match play format, there is a ton to talk about. I think that this is easily the most exploitable tournament that we will see on DraftKings every year, and the edge is the largest in any tournament that we will see all year. I'll talk more about that in depth. This will probably be a pretty long preview, so just bear with me. There's a lot to talk about, and I will share as much information that I have access to with you guys. Before we do that, a few housekeeping items. Last week's winner for the free week to DFS On Demand plus Slack access is John Buss, or Boos. Sorry, John, I don't know how you pronounce it, but you are the winner. I've already reached out to you. We'll get you hooked up with a subscription to DFS On Demand for a week, and you can join our Slack channel for the WGC, which is going to be a lot of fun. And there are more ways to win. So with this being a bracket style championship, we will have our own bracket challenge here at DFSOD, DFS On Demand, through this channel. So if you're looking at the video portion of this, I'm showing you the bracket on PGAtour.com. I have already created a group. So if you go into leagues and you search for either RickRunGood will get you there. So search for RickRunGood, if I can type it. There you go. Or you can search for DFS On Demand, or even DFS will bring it up. There is a league. It's called RickRunGood-DFS On Demand. Join me there and fill out your bracket. The winner of our little internal bracket will receive 1 year subscription to my site, DFS On Demand. The runner-up, I'll give 6 months to, and then I'll just randomly choose a few winners to get weeklies as well. It should be a lot of fun. It should be something for us to root for, and there is a little bit of value there for you guys as well. The link, I'll link to this league also in the description, but what you'll also have to do for me is fill out the Google form that is going to also be linked in the description. The reason I ask you to do that is I need to know what your PGA Tour username is and then how to contact you if you win. So I'm just asking for I think it's email address and PGA Tour handle so that no one wins and says, "Oh, I was John Snow. That's me who won it." Like, I'm going to get all that information up front. So just fill out the Google form. I'll just use it to contact the winners. And then finally, I'm going to show you a Google sheet that I've put together for this week, and it's one that I've put together in past weeks. I will also share that with you guys in the description. You can have at it. The rest of the site, DFSOnDemand.com, it is updated with the information that we have. I've got past finishes at the match play here in the cheat sheet, along with all the strokes gained stuff being updated for this week. So there's a lot to look at. But what I want to do, because this is such a unique week, is I want to talk about just the match play in general. Before we dive too deep into this, like we even have to review the scoring on DraftKings. Vastly different. I believe this is only the second year DraftKings has held a contest for the match play. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. But I believe in previous years they did nothing during the match play. And then last year was the first time they came out with a unique scoring system. So here is that scoring system. If you win a hole, it's 3 points. If you have a hole, it is 0.75. And if you lose a hole, it is minus 0.75. So having a hole and losing a hole is a net 0. Winning a hole is worth 3 points. If you, they have a holes not played bonus. Which essentially, if you win the match, so if you win the match 4-2, so you're 4 up with 2 to play, you will receive 1.6 points for every hole that you did not have to play. So that would be 3.2 points for 2 holes. You only receive this if you are the winning golfer. Okay, so if you get blown out and lose the first 10 holes, you don't get points for the other 8 that you didn't have to play. This only goes to the winning golfer. And then you get a little 5 points if you've won the match, 2 points if you have the match. And then if you win 3 holes in a row, you get another bonus of 5 points. And if you do not lose a single hole, it's a 7.5 point bonus. Okay, so we might not see that at all. I guess we could if you just have it and blow the guy out. We could see that this week. So that's the scoring. So obviously, very heavy on actually winning holes. So winning a hole, then losing a hole is a net win. Just like in most weeks where it is, a birdie and a bogey is a net positive for the golfer. Very similar this week. But what I really want to talk about is the way that the bracket is set up and how important this is. So I'm showing you the bracket here in a Google Doc. And this is the very similar bracket that I put together in a Google Doc last year for 2018, and it looked like this. Okay. So I had each of the players. I had their odds to win the group, how they have fared in match play across the board, and then their salary. All right. So very similar thing for this year, which is what you're looking at right now. So the absolute most critical thing about creating lineups this week is that you need to optimize them for your players to go as deep into this contest or as deep into this bracket as possible. And I know that sounds really stupid and really simple, but I will tell you, people are not doing it. Again, last year I think was the first year. I believe like 30% of lineups were created incorrectly, and then you basically have no chance of winning a GPP if you create a lineup incorrectly. And what do I mean by that? I mean that you need to start your lineups. You need to look at these in quadrants, right? Okay, so group 1, 16, 9, and 8 is a quadrant. One golfer from that quadrant is going to reach the final 4. Okay, one and only one. Same with group 5, 12, 13, and 4. Same with group 2, 15, 10, 7. Same with group 6, 11, 14, and 3, right? One guy is going to come out of each one of those quadrants and be in the final 4. So what you need to do is create your lineups so that they have one golfer from each of those quadrants so that they do not run into each other until the final 4 at the earliest, okay? What I was seeing a lot of last year, and I assume it's going to be better this year as people figure it out, but even if 10% or 15% of these lineups are basically dead this year, it's rake free, right? This contest is rake free. So I'm max entering it this week. I'm max entering the $5 150 entry contest on DraftKings, which is something I really only do when I feel that I have an edge, and I feel that I have an edge this week. A significant one, especially because I'm going to create every single one of these lineups by hand, and I'm not sure how many people are willing to do that to get this right. And I can't imagine there's many optimizers out there that are optimizing match play bracket lineups. So I'm going to do this because I think I have a really big edge. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to create, again, I'm going to take one golfer from each one of these quadrants, and then the final 2 golfers in my lineup are not going to come from adjacent groups. So I will give you an example. If I pick Rory McIlroy, who is in the bottom left-hand corner, he is in quadrant, whatever you want to call that, quadrant 2, he's in group 4. If I choose him as my guy from this quadrant, I am not going to choose someone from group 13, which would be Tiger Woods, Patrick Cantlay, Brandt Snedeker, or Aaron Wise. I will choose someone from group 12 or group 5 so that the first time that any of my golfers could potentially meet each other is in the Elite 8. So the best case scenario is 2 of my golfers will meet in the Elite 8, and then all 4 of them will meet in the Final 4. That is the absolute ideal scenario. So you do not want them to meet in the Sweet 16, in the round of 16. This is strictly, it's just like making the cut, right, guys? Like, the further you go, the more points you can earn. Like, obviously, right? So you can't have guys that are going to run into each other and knock each other out, because one of your guys is going to lose that match, and then it impedes his longevity in this tournament. And you even get points for the consolation match. So if you get guys into the final four, you are guaranteed 2 more matches. Wait, is that right? Yeah, because you begin the championship and then you'd be in the consolation. Right. So if you get into the final four, you're getting 2 more matches, which is an incredible scoring opportunity. Okay. So it's going to go down to the wire here. Additionally, what I saw, like I was just seeing, I mean, I think you guys get it. Like, you should never, ever, ever pick 2 guys from the same group. And I saw a lot of it last year. Hideki, like you should never create a lineup that has both Dustin Johnson and Hideki Matsuyama in it, because they are going to play each other in the round robin, and then only one of them is advancing. It's just insane. But when you just throw these lineups into an optimizer, it's going to give you guys that are in the same groups or guys that are in the same adjacent groups, whatever that might be. They're not going to create them optimally. That is going to be your absolute best way to create lineups that will never be dead, right? It is going to be hard enough for you to pick. Listen, this is an incredibly volatile tournament. It's going to be hard enough for you to pick like guys that get to the final four anyway. You do not want to put yourself like right behind the 8 ball on day 1 by screwing up the structure of your lineups. This is something that you control. The rest of it you do not control, but you absolutely control the structure of your lineup. So don't mess this up. All right. So again, just to recap. So everyone in each one of these groups is going to play each other. So there's going to be 3 matches. So each one of your guys will get 3 matches. And then the winner of that group will move on to the Sweet 16. And then it is single elimination. So that is the way that we're looking at it here. To kind of go back to last year, I want to just kind of look back. And of course, last year means nothing. It is one tournament. It's 1 year. But I want to really encourage you to embrace volatility. Okay. And the reason I say that is, and we see this all the time in golf, like on any given round, any golfer can beat any golfer. This is why in a lot of like heads ups, if you're betting like matchups, usually the underdog is a better value, because any given week or any given round, for 18 holes, Adam Hadwin can beat Dustin Johnson. Kevin Kisner came out of Group 1 last year. Kevin Kisner beat Dustin Johnson, Adam Hadwin, and Bernd Wiesberger last year. So that's in 18 holes. A lot of these matches will not even go 18 holes. So when you shorten, hey, this might only be 12, 14, 16 holes, anyone can beat anyone. There's so much volatility here. So I encourage you, if there's ever a week, don't just chase chalk. I think it's okay to embrace some of these lower guys. If you see, this is, again, just 1 year, but the number 1 player in the group advanced 5 times. The number 2 player in the group advanced 5 times. The number 3 player in the group advanced 4 times. And the number 4 player in the group advanced twice. So even the worst player in that group with the worst odds got out of the group 2 out of 16 times. I believe they were, who were they? Was it Kiradek? No, it wasn't Kiradek. It was, I guess it doesn't really matter. Poulter was one of them. And Siwoo Kim was the other. But then after that, it's basically an even split of the number 1 golfer, the number 2 golfer, and the number 3 golfer got out 5, 5, and 4 times. So it really is a very volatile tournament. Okay. So it's going to be difficult. So I just encourage you to embrace good lineup structures. Get yourself into as many good positions as possible. And if you're ever going to fade, this is probably the week to fade. At the same time, there are a handful of guys that you can probably write off. So again, here's this year's bracket again that you're looking at here. Some of these guys just really, really bad odds. Tom Lewis, really, really bad odds. Luke List, believe it or not, has terrible odds. I wonder if it's just because he's in the group with Rory. But really poor odds to advance. who else is really bad here? Andrew Putnam, Ches Reavie would be tough to get out of their group. Grillo has bad odds too. So some of these guys you can kind of write off, but I'm going to try to spread out a pretty decent amount of exposure to like the second and third guys in each one of these groups so that I can really kind of focus on embracing that volatility. One of the other tabs I have down here at the bottom are the 2019, this is match play records for everyone in the field for every different type of match play event. So I did not compile this. This is from Adam, I think it's Adam Sarson. So adamsarson.com does this every year. It's a great little tool. So shout out to him, where he compiles the WGC, so the match play records since 2016, which is when this event has been played at Austin Country Club, previous WGCs, match plays, President's Cups, Ryder Cup, and then anything additional. So it gives you their win record. So you can see like Tiger Woods very clearly a dominant match play player. Has never played here at Austin Country Club, but was 33-10 in WGC match play matchups prior. Great record at the President's Cup. Decent at the Ryder Cup, right? Like Jason Day, another guy, just absolutely scorches match play. And it is a little bit of a different mindset, right? We've seen guys that, Patrick Reed, for example, really gear up for this. There are some guys that really struggle. I mean, Keegan is 1-10-2 in his match play career. Will I completely avoid him? Probably not, because again, that can flip at any moment, but like not a great sign if you're 1-10-2. That's a pretty big sample size to be that bad at. So this is here for you. I do just, make sure that it's available. Make sure it's available for you. And then one other thing that I want you to consider is this is going to be a lot of golf. So this starts Wednesday. So they'll play one round Wednesday, one round Thursday, one round Friday. And then I believe they will play. So that would get you to, that gets you out of group play. So then Saturday is the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8. And then Sunday is the championship, or I'm sorry, the Final Four and the championship, and then the consolation goes along with that. So it's going to take, let's see, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 2 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. It is 7 rounds of golf to win this thing, which if you just came off of a grueling Valspar, this might be a lot of golf for you. So this actually is a week where I kind of like some of the guys that might have missed the cut last week because they got rest. They're geared up for this. I don't know. There's something there. I need to do a little bit more research into it, but I want to point out this is essentially 2 tournaments in one if you're going to play 7 rounds and make it that far. So just keep that in mind. All right. Finally, I have not done a lot of research on this. These groups just came out. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to look at here's the cheat sheet on DFS On Demand, and I'm going to look for guys who have succeeded in match play before. Rory has made the Final Four a handful of times since 2012. Jason Day has a really, really great record. Paul Casey has a great record. You can see some of the other guys that really show up for this. Matt Kuchar has won this event before. He's only $8,100. Phil Mickelson, always a wild card. So I know I'm running through these very, very quickly, but the records are here for you. You can come through and see where these guys are finishing. Even Kisner and Noren, who, Noren is not playing well recently, but yeah, there's some guys who probably gear up for match play better than others. And then you can also look at the strokes gained. Here's tee to green for this week. Unfortunate that Hideki is in Dustin Johnson's group because really would have loved him this week. I will still get a pretty good and you have to remember, the pricing came out before we knew what the groups were. So like Hideki, if we knew he was going to be in DJ's group, probably would not be as expensive as he ended up being, which was $8,200. But it's still a pretty good price. I'll probably take him. He might be a little bit contrarian because DJ is also in that group. But if Hideki gets out of it, it's a pretty interesting spot. So let's look at this bracket. First of all, the left side of it, the left side of the bracket is absolutely stacked. Okay. You've got DJ Hideki, Patrick Reed, John Rahm, Xander, Justin Thomas, Jason Day, Tiger, Rory, all on the same side. The right side doesn't seem as bad to me. It's got Brooks, it's got Tommy Fleetwood, it's got Bryson, it's got Molinari, Casey Rose, but those guys just are either, some of them haven't been playing that well. Like Bryson struggled a bit recently. It's just pretty clearly an easier side of the bracket. There is one kind of death group, unfortunately. So I really, really liked Jason Day before the bracket came out. But to see him get a draw of Phil Mickelson, Henrik Stenson, and Jim Furyk is a gauntlet. Phil is always a threat in these match play events. Stenson has played well recently, and Furyk has completely revived himself. He's playing the best he has played in a long time. That is a really, really tough group. I think they all actually have winning match play records, which is pretty rare. So that group is really, really tough. Let's see here. Like Rory coming out of group 4 would just, he should wipe through Matt Fitzpatrick, Justin Harding, and Luke List. Trying to see if anybody else jumps out at me here. Gary Woodland in this group up here. I know he burned a lot of us last week, but might be a good spot to buy back in on him. I think that Molinari, I don't think Molinari should be 1.9. These are the decimal odds. I don't think he should be 1.9 here, but this is a pretty favorable draw for him. I do like Simpson. I do like Leishman. I do like even Russell Knox, who can get it going. I'm looking for guys who can get really, really hot. So if you look at the tee to green numbers, like Russell Knox is the best in this group. That probably gets me fired up a bit. Charles Howell, pretty good price if you look at the tee to green numbers. Who else do we have here? I saw one. Here you go. Sergio Tee to green, the only guy in positives since the start of the year. Tee to green is Sergio Garcia. Some of these are also pretty equal. But what I'll do is I will make all of this available to you guys. It'll all be in the link in the description. Join the contest. We'll mess around. But also, I think this week more than any, I highly encourage you to follow me on Twitter. I will tweet out as much information as I get access to because it's all, we're back in old school days. We're in Google Sheets. Like if you guys are with me 3 or 4 years ago, we were always in Sheets and we were just like showing everything in here. Like we are back to that because there's not a lot of data feeds that have the match play. Like there's just going to be a lot of handmade research that is going to come up over the course of the week. So highly, highly encourage you to follow me on Twitter because again, these groups just came out. As I do a lot more research into this, I'll tweet out as much as I can. But I'm really interested to see how you're going to approach it this week, who you think is going to win. Tweet me. It's at DFS On Demand, or leave a comment below. Join the bracket. I'll talk to you guys soon. Good luck.